7 is supposed to be a lucky number. I always think of the 7 chapels, or maybe the 7 deadly sins. And what about the 7 great Dublin mysteries? There was morals, mercenaries, music and monasteries, money, moths and marriage. Especially marriage. Do you remember, Jem, when we first stepped out? You had the pinstripe suit and you wouldn't open your mouth. But you really looked lovely, except your shirt was sticking out. Do you remember, Jem? Do I remember? Will I ever forget? And the day picking winkles on Dollymount Strand, the tide came in and nearly drowned our gran. And we had to push her home in a 3-wheel pram. Do you remember, Jem? Do I remember? Will I ever forget? And the day we went to the Phoenix Park to look at the deer and sit in the grass. And you held me hand and asked for a kiss. And I wouldn't give in because I knew it was a mortal sin. Then you said you loved me and promised a ring. Do you remember, Jem? Do I remember? Will I ever forget? And the hoolie in the house on Stephen's night. You met all the relations and nothing went right. And everybody thought you were my little brother because you looked like Stan, except he never ever got sick over grand. Do you remember, Jem? Do I remember? Will I ever forget? And do you remember the day you changed me name? You couldn't find a ring and Gran started praying. And she looked in your waistcoat and poked you around. And when she looked through your pocket, your trousers fell down. Do you remember, Jem? Do I remember? Will I ever forget? And the singing and dancing back at the house. Come to think of it now, you were as quiet as a mouse. But you shouldn't have poured the whiskey in Gran's bottle of stout. I thought you was dead when we found her asleep in the wedding bed. But it was gas, it was grand. And you had to sleep with me brother Stan. Do you remember, Jem? Do I remember? Will I ever forget? Well, it's 40 years now we've been knocking about. You're much the same, and I haven't changed. Except me teeth aren't me own, and you've got gout. But you really look lovely, except your shirt sticking out. Do you remember, Jem? Do I remember? Will I ever forget? Me uncle had a wolfhound that never had to pee, but Harry Lemon snatched it down on Eden Quay. Now I have me primo and me scapulars are blue for helping the black babies and Dolly Fawcett too. Jobs were awful important. Having one, I mean. And you were on a pig's back if you had a trade. As they used to say, you can spend a fortune, but you can't spend a trade. Sure, I just had one too many, and I'm sick, sore and sorry. Being made redundant isn't easy, ma'am. 30 years not sick a day. I never saved me weekly pay. 4 married daughters and a widower. That's not easy, ma'am. In Old Mount Brown lives Barney Brown, a reject in his own hometown. Smiling when you're bitter isn't easy, ma'am. Unemployed and soul destroyed, all me stamps won't fill the void. Being made redundant isn't easy, ma'am. Isn't easy, ma'am. So what's so great with no workmates, and you're locked out and shattered? A life full of leisure isn't easy, ma'am. Broken-hearted for the job, it's amazing what machines can rob. Being obsolescent isn't easy, ma'am. Isn't easy, ma'am. In Old Mount Brown lives Barney Brown, a reject in his own hometown. Smiling when you're bitter isn't easy, ma'am. Unemployed and soul destroyed, all me stamps won't fill the void. Being made redundant isn't easy, ma'am. Isn't easy, ma'am. What use going home when you're all alone in an artisan dwelling with a big selfish cat? It isn't easy, ma'am. Progress rules and that's okay, but what prepares you for the day when you're made redundant? That's the question, ma'am. That's the question, ma'am. In Old Mount Brown lives Barney Brown, a reject in his own hometown. Smiling when you're bitter isn't easy, ma'am. Unemployed and soul destroyed, all me stamps won't fill the void. Being made redundant isn't easy, ma'am.